Let's talk about clarinet pads. There's three main families of pads that you might encounter. So this is a cork clarinet pad, or it could be a cork oboe pad as well, but it's a cork pad, and that's exactly what it sounds like. It's actually made of cork, so it's very, very solid. Probably nothing you're going to want to mess around with in the band room. These are the most difficult to get to seal well. Once they are installed well, they last a really, really long time, but they are difficult to do. I still find them to be a challenge. The key has to be dead perfect. The tone hole has to be dead flat. You can't have like any blemishes in the cork pad itself. Like, it's probably tough to see, but this one is actually just a little bit rough on the surface, so I would actually have to do a lot of work to the surface of the pad before I could even think about installing it on an instrument. So it's good to know that this is a thing, but probably nothing you're going to ever have to mess around with. The next type, and this is my preferred type, is synthetic pads. These are Valentino greenbacks, called that for obvious reasons, from J.L. Smith. Anything with the Valentino name on it, that is always going to be J.L. Smith. J.L. Smith bought Pete Valentino's company. Valentinos are very closely associated with like emergency like peel and stick pads, but they also make really nice pads, and these are actually my main kind of pad that I stock in my personal shop. They are synthetic, and they are scientifically proven to seal better than a standard skin pad. So these are really my go-to. Another convenience, they put the size on the back of the pad. That's very nice if this whole container got tipped over or something like that. So I really, really like the Valentino pads. There are other synthetic pads out there. Music Medic's working on developing one, and Kraus makes one called the Omni Pad. I don't have much experience with the Omni Pad because it's such a pain to order from Kraus. And Music Medic sent me some of their samples, which seemed good, but the sizes were a little bit off, so I wasn't able to use them. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with. And then the main kind of pad that you're going to see, these are skin pads, sometimes called traditional pads or bladder pads. It's a piece of felt with a cardboard backing, and it's surrounded in something that's going to be either called fish skin or gold beater skin or just skin. So these are the typical type of pad that you will see on most instruments. And so I'm going to show you how to replace a clarinet pad. Most of this will apply to, just about every single woodwind there is. So we got to get the old pad out, right? I'm going to poke it with my poker. And then while I heat it up, I'm going to apply a little bit of pressure, like I'm trying to slightly pry it out while it heats up. And with any luck, most of the glue will come off on the pad, and that will save us time having to clean the old glue out of the key cup. So I'm just twisting the key a little bit as I go, and that was pretty good. That came out pretty clean. There's a little bit of glue left in there. Probably wouldn't make a difference, honestly. I'm going to clean it out with a Q-tip just to make sure. So key cup's clean, and you can see majority of the glue came out right on the back of that pad. So when you can save time like that, especially if you're doing all 17 pads on a clarinet, that can really, really save you some time in the shop. So you need to find an appropriate size new pad. I've done enough clarinets. I know this is probably going to be 11, 11 and a half, or 12 millimeters. Let's start with 11 and a half. Oh, a little small. Looks like this one might be 12. Yep. So 12 millimeters is going to be a nice fit there. You want it to sit, so clarinet pads are typically shouldered. So the felt part, the part that's going to hit the tone hole, is a little bit wider than the part that's going into the key cup there. So you want that shouldered part to be protruding, and you want the narrower part to be kind of sitting in hidden. You don't want to be able to see that when you put it in the key cup. And so that's about right there. So this next step you only have to do if it's a skin pad. I'm going to pierce the skin. And I usually do that between the cardboard and the felt, just somewhere on the side there. Otherwise, it can kind of puff up like a marshmallow when this gets heated up. And that would be very bad for trying to make the pad seal. So just anywhere that's not, you don't want to do it like, stab it right on the top, because that could hit the tone hole and that would cause some leaks. But just kind of anywhere on the side, you want to make yourself that little pinhole right there. All right. Next, we need some glue for this. My recommendation would be amber melt pellets from J.L. Smith. It's nice because these pellets are all pretty much the same size, so there's a lot less guesswork when installing the pad. Any pad on the upper joint of a soprano clarinet will just take one glue pellet. The top two keys, so the 3-ring key and your alternate B, F sharp key, will take 2 pellets, and then the bottom 4 on a clarinet will typically take 4 to 5 pellets. So we know this is in the 2 pellet club, so I'm going to heat up the key cup a bit and then drop in these 2 pellets. I'm just going to work them around with my poker. And then I want those fairly liquid, so I'm going to heat it up a little bit more. There we go. So now while those are liquid, I'm going to drop my pad in. And I'm going to give it a spin to kind of evenly disperse all the glue behind it. And there we go. Pad is installed. Now we need to seat it to the instrument. Okay, so it's back on there, right? But the chances that that's hitting evenly on the tone hole right now are pretty slim. So we've actually got to heat that up one more time. I'm probably going to only hold the heat to it for maybe like a 4 Mississippi count. And then I'm going to hit it up and down a few times, and then I'm going to hold it down until it cools. And that should seat the pad pretty evenly. So, word of warning here. We don't want to melt this clarinet, right? You got to remember, even if you're only using hot air and not an open flame, heat is still going to rise. So we don't want anything above where the airstream is going. Hold that down until it starts to cool off. Maybe, 10 or 15 seconds probably. And then I'm going to check for leaks with our feeler gauge, right? So for a student level clarinet, I am totally satisfied with this. I can feel the grab all the way around. However, I feel the grab more strongly at 6 o'clock than I do at 12 o'clock. If this were a professional clarinet, I would want to make that more even. So I would actually heat it up one more time. And then I would use my pad slick. It's just a flat piece of metal. I would put that under there and I would kind of tilt and rock the pad around. So like for now where I'm feeling it stronger grab at 6 o'clock than at 12 o'clock, I would just put the pad slick in the front there while it's heated up and just push up a little bit, which will tilt down the back of the pad to give some more even grab. Like I said, only professional clarinets would I worry about anything like that. Student level instruments aren't designed to be adjusted that perfectly. They're just designed to work. And so this is going to work just fine right now. So I'm happy with where it's at.